You think wealth is about luck. You believe some people are chosen by fortune while others are condemned to struggle. You look at those who prosper and tell yourself they had advantages you never had. They knew the right people. They were born into the right families. They stumbled upon the right opportunities at the right time. You are wrong. And that lie, that comfortable, poisonous lie, is the very chain that keeps you bound to mediocrity. Listen to me carefully. There was a man who had every reason to fail. Every single reason. He was betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery. He was torn from everything he knew and thrown into a foreign land where he owned nothing, knew no one, and had no power. He was falsely accused of a crime he did not commit and thrown into a dungeon where forgotten men rot away their years. Yet this man became the second most powerful person in the richest empire on earth. His name was Joseph. And buried in his story are wealth principles so profound, so universal, that they operate in your life right now whether you acknowledge them or not. Most people read his story and see miracles. They see divine intervention. They see luck. They walk away believing that success like his requires supernatural favor that they themselves will never receive. They miss everything. Because what they call miracles were simply immutable laws in action. What they call favor was simply preparation meeting opportunity. What they call luck was simply the inevitable result of a mind disciplined to see what others cannot see. You live in a world that has taught you to be a victim. To blame your circumstances. To point at your past and say, that is why I cannot succeed. You have been trained to react to life instead of creating it. You wait for permission. You wait for the right moment. You wait for someone to save you. No one is coming. The truth you must face today is this: you are exactly where your thoughts, habits, and decisions have placed you. Not your circumstances. Not your background. Not the economy. Not your family. Not your education. You. Joseph understood something that you must burn into your consciousness if you want to break free from financial mediocrity. He understood that wealth is not something that happens to you. It is something that flows through you when you align your mind with certain unchangeable principles. These principles do not care about your race, your age, your connections, or your current bank balance. They work for anyone who works them. They fail no one who applies them with faith and persistence. But they demand something most people refuse to give: total personal responsibility. From this moment forward, you must abandon the comfortable position of the victim. You must stop waiting for the world to change and start demanding that you change. You must accept that your financial future is not written in the stars, it is written in your daily choices, your mental habits, and your willingness to see opportunities where others see only obstacles. Before we go deeper, I want you to do something. If this message is striking something inside you, if you sense that you are being called to a higher standard, then subscribe to this channel right now. Mark this moment. Make it real. And leave a comment telling me where in the world you are watching from. Not for me. For you. Because the act of declaring your presence is the first step in declaring your intention. Now let us examine the laws that govern Joseph's rise from prison to palace, and how those same laws are waiting to govern your rise to prosperity. There is a law operating in this universe that most people never recognize. It is silent. It is invisible. Yet it is more powerful than any force you can see with your physical eyes. This law states, your outer world is a perfect reflection of your inner world. Read that again. Let it penetrate. Your bank account is a reflection of your consciousness. Your relationships reflect your self-worth. Your career reflects your clarity of purpose and your commitment to excellence. Nothing in your external circumstances is random. Everything is causation. Joseph did not become wealthy by accident. He became wealthy because he developed a wealth consciousness while he had nothing. He cultivated the mindset of abundance while living in scarcity. He practiced leadership principles while he was a slave. He maintained his integrity while falsely imprisoned. And the universe, through the mechanisms of human psychology, reputation, and opportunity, rewarded that alignment. You must understand this, or you will waste your entire life chasing effects instead of causes. You will try to get money without becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts and multiplies money. You will try to get respect without becoming respectable. You will try to get opportunities without becoming the kind of person opportunities seek out. It does not work that way. The story of Joseph reveals a principle that governs all wealth creation: value precedes wealth. Service precedes reward. Character precedes promotion. When Joseph was sold as a slave, he could have adopted the victim mentality. He could have done the minimum required to survive. He could have become bitter, resentful, and mediocre. No one would have blamed him. But he did the opposite. He looked at his situation and asked himself a different question. Not, why is this happening to me, but, how can I create value here? Not, how do I escape this, but, how do I master this? This is the first secret: you must become obsessed with creating value regardless of your current circumstances. Joseph served Potiphar with such excellence that Potiphar put him in charge of his entire household. Everything Joseph touched prospered. Not because Joseph was lucky. Not because Potiphar was generous. But because Joseph operated according to a law that never fails: excellence is always rewarded. Maybe not immediately. Maybe not by the person you are serving. But it is always rewarded. You are thinking, but I work hard and I am not rewarded. No. You work. But do you work with the spirit of mastery? Do you serve with the intention of creating 10 times more value than you are paid for? Do you treat every task as an opportunity to develop yourself into a person of greater capacity? Or do you do just enough to keep your job? Do you watch the clock? Do you complain about what you are not getting instead of focusing on what you are becoming? Be honest. Joseph did not focus on what he was getting. He focused on what he was becoming. He was becoming a person of discipline. A person of vision. A person who could be trusted with small things so he would eventually be trusted with great things. This is the law: you will never be given more until you prove faithful with what you already have. You want a bigger income? Master the management of your current income. You want a higher position? Master the responsibilities of your current position. You want a better life? Master the habits required to maintain a better life. Most people live backwards. They want the reward before they develop the character. They want the harvest before they plant the seeds. They want the palace before they master the prison. Joseph spent years in slavery. Then years in prison. During those years, he was developing something invisible but invaluable: wealth consciousness. What is wealth consciousness? It is the ability to see resources where others see lack. It is the ability to create order out of chaos. It is the ability to interpret complexity and provide clarity. It is the habit of adding value to every environment you enter. When Joseph was in prison, he did not waste his time in self-pity. He observed. He learned. He helped. He interpreted dreams for fellow prisoners not because it would benefit him, but because service was his nature. He had trained himself to ask, "How can I help?" in every situation. And that habit, that seemingly small habit, eventually brought him before Pharaoh. Do you see it? The same skill he practiced for free in prison became the skill that elevated him to the throne room. The same principle he applied when no one was watching became the principle that made him indispensable when everyone was watching. This is how the law works. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you are a person of service, you attract opportunities to serve at higher levels. If you are a person of integrity, you attract relationships built on trust. If you are a person of vision, you attract resources that require vision to steward. But if you are a person of complaint, you attract more reasons to complain. If you are a person of scarcity, you attract circumstances that confirm scarcity. If you are a person who takes shortcuts, you attract temporary gains that collapse under pressure. Joseph's wealth was not given to him. It grew from him. It was the natural consequence of the person he had become through years of discipline, service, and unwavering faith in principles. Now hear this: the same law that worked for Joseph is working in your life right now. Right now, you are creating your future with your thoughts, with your words, with your habits. Every day you are either moving toward wealth consciousness or poverty consciousness. There is no neutral ground. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you think about? Lack or abundance? Problems or possibilities? What you are owed or what you can create? When you go to work, do you see it as an exchange, your time for money, or do you see it as a training ground where you are developing skills that will eventually make you invaluable? When you face a setback, do you interpret it as evidence that life is against you, or do you interpret it as redirection towards something better? These are not small questions. These questions determine your financial destiny. Joseph faced setback after setback. Betrayal, slavery, false accusation, imprisonment. Yet he never allowed external circumstances to dictate his internal state. He held firm to a vision of who he was becoming, even when everything around him contradicted that vision. This is faith. Not religious faith. Practical faith. Faith is the ability to act on principles when you cannot yet see the results. Faith is planting seeds in the dark soil and trusting the laws of harvest even though you see nothing but dirt. You need this faith. Because the path from where you are to where you want to be will require you to act before you see evidence. It will require you to serve before you are paid. It will require you to believe in your value before the market confirms it. Most people quit right here. They take a few steps, see no immediate reward, and retreat back to comfort. They say the principles do not work. But the principles are not broken. Their commitment is broken. Joseph spent 13 years between the pit and the palace. 13 years. How long have you been working on your dream? 13 days? 13 weeks? 13 months? Time is not your enemy. Inconsistency is your enemy. Impatience is your enemy. The belief that you are entitled to results without transformation is your enemy. Joseph was not entitled to anything. He earned everything through the transformation of his character and the application of universal principles. And here is what you must write on your heart: wealth flows toward value. Always. Without exception. If you are not experiencing the wealth you desire, it is not because the world is unfair. It is because you have not yet created enough value or you have not yet learned to communicate the value you create. This is not an insult. This is liberation. Because if your wealth is determined by forces outside your control, you are helpless. But if your wealth is determined by the value you create and the consciousness you cultivate, then you are powerful beyond measure. Joseph's greatest wealth secret was this: he became indispensable by solving problems no one else could solve. When Pharaoh had a dream that troubled him, none of his wise men could interpret it. Joseph could. Why? Because Joseph had spent years developing his mind. He had not wasted his prison time. He had sharpened his ability to see patterns, to connect ideas, to interpret complexity. When the interpretation revealed 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine, Pharaoh needed more than information. He needed a plan. Joseph provided it. He did not just diagnose the problem. He prescribed the solution. He offered a complete strategy for turning crisis into opportunity. And Pharaoh said, "Can we find such a one as this, a man in whom the Spirit of God is?" Joseph was promoted not because of politics, not because of connections, not because of luck. He was promoted because he possessed something rare: wisdom combined with the ability to execute. This is what you must develop. Insight without action is useless. Action without insight is reckless. You need both. You need to study your field until you see what others miss. You need to develop solutions to problems before you are asked. You need to become the person people think of when they have a challenge that requires someone exceptional. Do you know what problems exist in your industry? Do you know what frustrates your employer, your clients, your community? Have you spent time thinking about solutions, or do you just show up and do what you are told? Joseph did not wait to be told. He anticipated. He planned. He executed. And because of this, he did not just survive the famine, he turned it into the greatest wealth transfer in history. Egypt became the richest nation in the world during the famine because Joseph had prepared. While other nations were starving, Egypt had abundance. And that abundance gave Egypt leverage. People came from every nation to buy grain. They traded their money, their livestock, their land, their very freedom for survival. And who managed it all? Joseph. This is the ultimate secret: the prepared person becomes powerful during crisis. While everyone else panics, the prepared person profits. Not through exploitation, but through foresight. Not through greed, but through stewardship. Not through luck, but through discipline. You are living in a world of constant change. Economic shifts. Technological disruption. Uncertainty. Most people fear these things. But these are the exact conditions in which prepared people rise. Are you preparing? Or are you just reacting? Are you building skills that will be valuable tomorrow, or are you clinging to what worked yesterday? Are you saving when others are spending, so you can invest when others are desperate? Are you studying when others are being entertained, so you can lead when others are confused? Joseph became wealthy because he thought differently. He planned when others partied. He saved when others spent. He prepared when others procrastinated. And when the crisis came, he was ready. This is not theory. This is law. A law as reliable as gravity. And it is working in your life right now, whether you acknowledge it or not. Now we must go deeper. And I must tell you things you may not want to hear. You say you want wealth. But your daily choices betray you. You say you want success. But you are not willing to delay gratification. You are not willing to invest in yourself. You are not willing to do the uncomfortable work that transformation requires. Let me confront you with love but with absolute honesty: most of your financial problems are not circumstantial. They are behavioral. You spend money you do not have to impress people you do not like. You buy things you do not need to fill voids that material possessions cannot fill. You are more concerned with looking successful than with becoming successful. Joseph did not worry about appearances. He wore slave rags and prison clothes for years. But he was building something those clothes could not reveal: internal wealth. Internal wealth is the foundation of external wealth. If you do not have internal discipline, external money will destroy you. The statistics prove it. Most lottery winners are broke within 5 years. Most athletes and entertainers who earn millions end up bankrupt. Why? Because they had money without the consciousness to manage it. You cannot sustain what you have not developed the character to steward. Joseph was given control over all of Egypt's wealth not because he was lucky, but because he had proven over and over again that he could manage resources with wisdom. He had managed Potiphar's household. He had managed the prisoners. He had managed his own emotions and attitudes through years of hardship. Every test was preparing him for the next level. But you fail the small tests and wonder why you are not trusted with greater things. You mismanage your time and wonder why you are not given better opportunities. You break promises to yourself and wonder why others do not believe in you. You must face this: the problem is not out there. The problem is in here. In your mind. In your habits. In your discipline. In your willingness to do what is required instead of what is convenient. Joseph had every excuse to quit. He had every reason to become bitter. He had every justification to cut corners and compromise his integrity. But he did not. When Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him, Joseph refused. He ran. He chose integrity over immediate pleasure. And what did it cost him? It cost him his position, his reputation, and his freedom. He was thrown into prison for doing the right thing. So let me ask you, are you willing to pay that price? Are you willing to do the right thing even when it costs you? Are you willing to be honest even when lying would profit you? Are you willing to keep your word even when breaking it would be more convenient? Most people are not. Most people compromise the moment integrity becomes expensive. And that is why most people never experience true wealth. Because wealth, real wealth, requires trust. And trust requires integrity. And integrity requires that you do what is right even when no one is watching and even when it hurts. Joseph built a reputation. Not a public reputation at first. A reputation with himself. He knew who he was. He knew what he stood for. And he would not violate that for any temporary gain. You need to build that same reputation with yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop making promises you do not keep. Stop saying you will start tomorrow when you mean you will not start at all. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your self-trust. And when you do not trust yourself, you sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. You undermine your own success because deep down, you do not believe you deserve it or that you can sustain it. Joseph believed he deserved it. Not because he was arrogant. But because he had done the work. He had paid the price. He had remained faithful in the small things. When Pharaoh promoted him, Joseph did not have imposter syndrome. He did not shrink back. He stepped into the role with confidence because he knew he was prepared. Are you prepared? If your breakthrough came today, would you be ready for it? Or would you squander it because you have not developed the habits, the discipline, the knowledge, and the character it requires? Most people are not ready. And that is why most people do not receive. Not because the universe is withholding, but because they are not prepared to steward what they are asking for. Let us talk about another mistake you are making. You are focused on getting instead of becoming. You want the money. You want the title. You want the recognition. But you do not want the transformation. Joseph did not focus on becoming rich. He focused on becoming excellent. He focused on becoming wise. He focused on becoming a man of character. The riches were a byproduct of who he became. You are trying to skip the becoming and go straight to the having. It does not work. You can get money without character, but you cannot keep it. You can get a position without competence, but you cannot sustain it. The universe has a way of testing whether you are ready. It will give you a small version of what you are asking for to see what you do with it. If you mismanage the small, you will never be trusted with the large. Joseph was tested over and over. Slavery. Prison. Forgotten by the cupbearer for 2 more years after interpreting his dream. Every test refined him. Every delay prepared him. But you interpret delays as denials. You interpret testing as punishment. You interpret refinement as rejection. You must change your interpretation. Every challenge is a classroom. Every setback is a setup. Every closed door is protection from something you are not ready for yet. Stop resisting the process. Embrace it. Learn from it. Let it shape you into the person who can handle the success you are praying for. And stop comparing yourself to others. You look at people who seem to have it easier and you grow resentful. You see someone succeed and you assume they did not work for it. You have no idea what they went through. You have no idea what they sacrificed. You have no idea how many nights they cried, how many times they failed, how many years they invested in becoming who they are. And even if they did get lucky, what does that have to do with you? Their path is not your path. Their timeline is not your timeline. Joseph did not waste energy comparing himself to his brothers who betrayed him. He did not waste energy being bitter about the injustice. He stayed focused on his own growth, his own purpose, his own process. You need that same focus. Stop looking around. Stop scrolling through other people's highlight reels and feeling inadequate. Start looking inward. Start building. Start becoming. Another mistake: you are reactive instead of proactive. Joseph was proactive. When he interpreted Pharaoh's dream, he did not stop at the interpretation. He presented a plan. He showed initiative. He demonstrated leadership before he was given a leadership position. You wait to be told what to do. You wait for permission. You wait for the perfect conditions. Stop waiting. Start creating. Start solving problems. Start adding value without being asked. Start thinking like a leader even if your current position is low. This is how you rise. Not by demanding promotion, but by demonstrating readiness. When opportunity knocked on Joseph's door, he did not need to prepare. He was already prepared. He had been preparing for years without knowing when or how the opportunity would come. You are not preparing. You are hoping. And hope without preparation is just wishful thinking. Prepare your mind. Read. Study. Think. Learn from people who have done what you want to do. Prepare your habits. Discipline your time. Discipline your money. Discipline your words. Prepare your character. Build integrity. Build resilience. Build patience. And then when your moment comes, and it will come, you will be ready to seize it with both hands. But if you are not ready, the moment will pass you by. And you will spend the rest of your life wondering, what if, instead of celebrating, I did? Joseph did not wonder what if. He walked in his purpose with certainty because he had done the work. You must do the work. Now I am going to tell you what must change. You must adopt a completely new way of thinking. A way of thinking that places you at the center of your own life as the creator, not the victim. From today forward, you must see yourself as a steward, not a consumer. Most people consume their entire lives. They consume time. They consume money. They consume opportunities. They consume relationships. They take and never build anything lasting. Joseph was a steward. He understood that everything in his care was a trust. He managed Potiphar's house as if it were his own. He managed Pharaoh's kingdom as if he were accountable to a higher power. And that is the mindset shift: you must see yourself as accountable. You are accountable for the use of your time. Not your boss. Not your family. You. Every hour is a seed. Are you planting it in fertile ground or wasting it on barren distractions? You are accountable for the use of your money. Every dollar is a soldier. Are you deploying it wisely to expand your territory, or are you sending it to die in meaningless battles? You are accountable for the use of your mind. Every thought is a blueprint. Are you designing a future of abundance or a future of lack? You are the architect. You are the builder. You are the cause. This is terrifying and liberating at the same time. Terrifying because it means you can no longer blame anyone else. Liberating because it means you have the power to change everything. Joseph understood this. Even when he was a slave, he did not act like a victim. He acted like a man with agency. He made choices. He took responsibility. He created value. You must do the same. Stop blaming your parents for what they did not teach you. Teach yourself. Stop blaming your boss for not recognizing you. Become so undeniable that recognition is inevitable. Stop blaming the economy. People are becoming wealthy in this economy. What are they doing that you are not? The moment you take full responsibility is the moment your life begins to change. Now, the second mindset shift: you must think in seasons. Joseph understood that life moves in cycles. 7 years of abundance. 7 years of famine. He did not panic during abundance, and he did not despair during famine. He prepared during abundance for the famine he knew was coming. You do not think this way. You think linearly. You assume good times will last forever, so you do not save. You assume bad times will last forever, so you do not prepare for opportunity. Both assumptions are wrong. Economies move in cycles. Industries move in cycles. Life moves in cycles. When you have abundance, whether it is extra money, extra time, or extra energy, do not waste it. Invest it. Store it. Prepare for the season when you will need it. Joseph saved 20% of Egypt's harvest during the 7 good years. Not 10%. Not 5%. 20%. That is aggressive saving. That is discipline. That is long-term thinking. What percentage of your income are you saving? What percentage are you investing in your education, your skills, your future? If the answer is 0, you are setting yourself up for disaster. You must become a saver before you can become an investor. You must become an investor before you can become wealthy. There is no shortcut. Third mindset shift: you must adopt a kingdom mentality instead of a survival mentality. Survival mentality says, how do I get through today? Kingdom mentality says, what am I building that will last beyond my lifetime? Joseph was not just managing a crisis. He was building a legacy. He positioned Egypt as the dominant economic power in the world. He saved entire nations from starvation. He preserved the lineage through which future redemption would come. He thought beyond himself. You must think beyond yourself. Beyond your immediate needs. Beyond your lifespan. What are you building? What will remain after you are gone? If you are only working to pay bills, you are thinking too small. You need a vision larger than your circumstances. A vision that inspires you to rise early and stay up late. A vision that makes sacrifices feel worthwhile. Joseph had a vision from his youth. Dreams of greatness. Dreams of leadership. Dreams that seemed absurd given his circumstances. But he held on to those dreams. He allowed them to fuel his discipline and his faith. What is your vision? And do not tell me you do not have one. You do. You have just buried it under fear, doubt, and discouragement. Dig it up. Dust it off. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Let it guide your decisions. Fourth mindset shift: you must become a problem solver, not a problem avoider. Most people spend their lives avoiding problems. They choose comfort over challenge. They choose easy over effective. Joseph ran toward problems. Potiphar's household was chaotic. Joseph brought order. Pharaoh's kingdom faced disaster. Joseph brought strategy. Problems are not obstacles. Problems are opportunities. The bigger the problem you can solve, the wealthier you will become. Stop complaining about problems. Start solving them. In your job. In your community. In your industry. Find a problem that frustrates people and become the solution. That is how businesses are born. That is how fortunes are made. That is how leaders emerge. Fifth mindset shift: you must value wisdom over information. We live in the information age. You have access to more knowledge than any generation in history. But knowledge without application is useless. Joseph did not just know things. He applied what he knew. He turned insight into strategy. He turned strategy into action. He turned action into results. You consume content endlessly but implement nothing. You watch videos, read books, listen to podcasts. But nothing changes because you never act on what you learn. Stop consuming and start implementing. Take one idea and apply it until it becomes a habit. Then take another. Wisdom is applied knowledge. You do not need more information. You need more application. Finally, you must live with eternity in mind. I do not mean this in only a spiritual sense, though that is important. I mean you must think beyond the immediate, beyond the urgent, beyond the temporary. Joseph made decisions that would affect generations. He was not thinking about next week. He was thinking about the next century. You are thinking about Friday, about the weekend, about the next paycheck. Stretch your thinking. Stretch your timeline. Stretch your vision. What decision can you make today that your future self will thank you for? What habit can you start today that will compound into transformation over the next decade? That is the decision you need to make. That is the habit you need to start. Stop living for today at the expense of tomorrow. Start living for tomorrow by making today count. Now I will give you the practical steps. These are not suggestions. These are disciplines that you must implement starting today if you want to walk the path Joseph walked. First, develop the discipline of margin. Margin means space. Space in your time. Space in your finances. Space in your energy. Joseph created margin by saving 20% during abundance. You must do the same. Starting today, commit to saving at least 10% of every dollar you earn. Not after you pay your bills. Before. Pay yourself first. Take that 10% off the top and put it somewhere you cannot easily access. This is not just about money. This is about training your mind to live on less than you earn. This is about breaking the cycle of financial desperation. This is about creating the resources you will need to seize opportunities when they appear. If 10% feels impossible, start with 5%. Start with 1%. But start. The habit is more important than the amount. Do the same with your time. Every day, carve out margin. 30 minutes minimum. Use that time to think. To plan. To learn. To develop yourself. Joseph had time in prison to think. You have no prison, but you act like you have no time. You fill every moment with noise, distraction, entertainment. Turn off the noise. Create silence. In that silence, you will hear the ideas that will change your life. Second, become a student of patterns. Joseph's greatest skill was the ability to interpret patterns. Dreams. Cycles. Trends. You must develop this skill. Study your industry. Study the economy. Study history. What patterns repeat? What cycles recur? What trends are emerging? The people who become wealthy are not smarter than you. They simply see what is coming before others see it. They recognize patterns. They anticipate change. They position themselves accordingly. Read biographies of successful people. What patterns do you notice? Read about past economic cycles. What can you learn? Study your own life. What patterns of behavior lead to success? What patterns lead to failure? Awareness is the first step to change. You cannot change what you do not see. Keep a journal. Every evening, write down what you learned that day. What worked? What did not? What you will do differently tomorrow. This simple practice will make you more observant, more intentional, more effective. Third, practice radical integrity. Integrity is the foundation of trust. Trust is the foundation of wealth. Joseph's integrity put him in prison. But it also put him in the palace. Because Potiphar knew he could trust Joseph. Because Pharaoh knew he could trust Joseph. You must become someone people can trust. Not just sometimes. All the time. Keep your word. If you say you will do something, do it. If you cannot do it, do not say you will. Be honest. Even when it costs you. Even when a lie would be easier. Pay your debts. Return what you borrow. Do not take what is not yours. These seem like small things. They are not. These are the building blocks of character. And character determines destiny. Every time you choose integrity over convenience, you strengthen yourself. Every time you compromise, you weaken yourself. Build the habit of integrity in small things, and you will have it in large things. Fourth, master the art of serving with excellence. Joseph served. Always. He did not serve begrudgingly. He served with his whole heart. He served as if he were serving a higher purpose, not just a human master. You must adopt this same spirit. Whatever your current position, give it everything you have. Do not hold back. Do not do just enough to get by. Treat every task as an opportunity to demonstrate excellence. Treat every person you serve as someone who could change your life. Because they can. You never know who is watching. You never know what doors will open because you gave your best when no one expected you to. Mediocrity is a habit. Excellence is a habit. You choose which one you practice. Make a list of your current responsibilities. Next to each one, write one way you could serve with greater excellence. Then implement those improvements this week. Fifth, invest in your mind daily. Joseph was not born with all the skills he needed. He developed them. He learned to manage. He learned to interpret. He learned to strategize. You must commit to daily learning. Not passive consumption. Active learning. Learning that stretches you. Learning that challenges your assumptions. Learning that builds your capacity. Read at least 30 minutes every day. Not fiction. Not social media. Books that teach you about money, about leadership, about human nature, about your field. Listen to educational content while you commute. Turn your car into a mobile university. Find a mentor or a coach. Someone who has done what you want to do. Learn from their mistakes. Model their successes. Take courses. Attend seminars. Invest in your education even when, especially when, it feels expensive. Your earning power is directly connected to your learning power. The more you know, the more you can do. The more you can do, the more you can earn. But do not just learn. Apply. Take one idea from every book and implement it immediately. Learning without application is entertainment, not education. Sixth, build strategic relationships. Joseph rose because he added value to the right people at the right time. He served Potiphar. He served the cupbearer. He served Pharaoh. You need relationships. Not shallow networking. Deep, value-based relationships. Identify the people in your life who are moving in the direction you want to go. Spend more time with them. Learn from them. Serve them. Stop wasting time with people who drain you, distract you, or discourage you. This is not arrogance. This is wisdom. You become like the people you spend time with. If you spend time with complainers, you will become a complainer. If you spend time with achievers, you will become an achiever. Be intentional. Reach out to one person each week who inspires you. Ask them a question. Offer to help them. Build genuine connection. And when you build relationships, add value first. Do not ask what you can get. Ask what you can give. Joseph gave value before he ever received reward. And because he gave first, he eventually received more than he could have imagined. Seventh, prepare for the season that is not yet here. Joseph prepared during abundance for the famine he knew was coming. You must do the same. Right now, you are in one of two seasons, abundance or famine. If you are in abundance, whether financially, physically, or emotionally, do not waste it. Prepare. Save money. Build skills. Strengthen relationships. Improve your health. Deepen your knowledge. If you are in a season of famine, scarcity, difficulty, challenge, do not despair. This season is temporary. It is teaching you. It is preparing you. Stay faithful. Stay disciplined. Keep serving with excellence even when you see no immediate reward. The season will change. And when it does, you will be ready. Make a plan. Write down what season you are in. Write down what you need to do in this season to prepare for the next. Then execute that plan with discipline. Do not live reactively. Live strategically. These 7 disciplines are not complicated. But they require commitment. They require consistency. They require that you value your future more than your comfort. Most people will not do them. Most people will read them, nod their heads, and change nothing. Do not be most people. Be the person who takes what they learn and turns it into action. Be the person who commits to the process even when it is hard. Be the person who trusts the principles even when results are delayed. That is how Joseph did it. That is how you will do it. Let me bring this to a close with a question that will determine the trajectory of the rest of your life. Are you a victim or a creator? Are you at the mercy of your circumstances, or are you the architect of your destiny? Joseph was thrown into a pit. Sold into slavery. Falsely accused. Imprisoned. Forgotten. Yet he emerged as one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world. Not because his circumstances changed before he changed, but because he changed in spite of his circumstances. You are standing at a crossroads. One path is familiar. It is the path of blame, of complaint, of waiting for the world to give you what you think you deserve. That path leads nowhere. You have been walking it long enough to know that. The other path is unfamiliar. It is the path of responsibility, of discipline, of relentless commitment to becoming more than you are today. That path is hard. It requires sacrifice. It requires that you face your weaknesses and do the work to transform them into strengths. But that path leads to the palace. Not the palace of luxury necessarily, though that may come. The palace of purpose. The palace of fulfillment. The palace of impact. The palace of legacy. Joseph's wealth was not just material. His wealth was influence. Impact. The ability to save lives. The ability to shape history. That is the wealth I am calling you to. Not just money in the bank, though you should have that. But power to create. Power to lead. Power to serve. Power to change your family tree. But you will never step into that wealth if you do not step into the process. Nothing changes until you change. No one is coming to rescue you. No magic moment will transform you. No lottery ticket. No lucky break. There is only the decision you make today. The decision to stop waiting and start building. The decision to stop consuming and start creating. The decision to stop blaming and start becoming. Joseph did not waste his years in the pit and the prison. He used them. He allowed them to refine him, prepare him, strengthen him. You have been through hard things. Maybe you are in a hard season right now. Do not waste it. Use it. Let it shape you. Let it teach you. Let it prepare you for the doors that are about to open. Because doors will open. Opportunities will come. But only the prepared will be able to walk through them. Are you prepared? Can you be trusted with wealth? Can you be trusted with influence? Can you be trusted with power? If not, then do the work to become someone who can be trusted. The universe does not reward wishes. It rewards readiness. Joseph was ready. When Pharaoh called, Joseph did not say, "Give me 6 months to prepare." He was already prepared. He had been preparing for years without knowing the day or the hour. That is the commitment I am calling you to. Prepare now for the opportunities you cannot yet see. Build now for the future you cannot yet touch. Discipline yourself now for the success you cannot yet taste. And understand this, the time you spend in obscurity is not wasted. It is the most important time of your life. Because that is where character is built. That is where discipline is forged. That is where vision is refined. The palace is public. The prison is private. But the prison is where the real work happens. Do not despise where you are right now. Honor it. Learn from it. Master it. Because where you are now is the classroom for where you are going. Joseph's story is not just history. It is prophecy. It is a pattern. A template. A blueprint. His story is telling you that no matter where you are, no matter what has happened to you, no matter how unfair life has been, you can rise. You can rise if you are willing to think differently. If you are willing to serve faithfully. If you are willing to build wisely. If you are willing to wait patiently. You can rise if you refuse to become bitter. If you refuse to become a victim. If you refuse to settle for less than the greatness planted inside you. That greatness is there. I do not care what anyone has told you. I do not care what you have told yourself. The greatness is there. But it will stay buried if you do not dig it up. It will stay dormant if you do not activate it. It will stay potential if you do not convert it into action. So here is my final word to you. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start today. Start now. Start with the smallest step if that is all you can take. But start. Save $1. Read 1 page. Make 1 change. Keep 1 promise. And then do it again tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. Because wealth is not an event. It is a process. A daily process of small disciplines compounded over time. Joseph did not go from the pit to the palace in a day. It took years. 13 long years. But every day of those years, he was building. He was growing. He was preparing. And when his moment came, he was ready. Your moment is coming. But will you be ready? That depends on what you do today. And tomorrow. And every day after that. The principles are here. The path is clear. The choice is yours. You are not a victim of your past. You are not a prisoner of your circumstances. You are not limited by where you came from. You are the creator of your future. You are the architect of your destiny. You are the master of your mind. And if you align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with the principles that govern success, nothing can stop you. Nothing. The same laws that lifted Joseph from slavery to sovereignty are available to you. The same power that turned his betrayal into blessing is available to you. The same wisdom that saved nations from famine is available to you. But you must activate it. You must apply it. You must live it. This is your moment. This is your call. This is your time. Do not let it pass you by. Step into your greatness. Step into your responsibility. Step into your power. The palace is waiting. But first, you must master the prison. Now go. And build the life you were created to live.